Morality. What happens when morality and God, from whom moral boundaries descend, are forgotten? Hi, Alex McFarland here. You know, as we record this, our nation is grieving for the tragic shooting that took place in Nashville, Tennessee, Covenant Christian School, when a former student, we're told, a transgender individual went in and killed a number of children and adults. Very, very tragic. And in no way do we minimize the suffering and just the heartbreak that something like that causes. But I have to speak out about how so many in the media are analyzing this and spinning it. And they're saying that the answer is to ban guns. And the cause of this was that the shooter is a victim because of transphobia and attitudes of our culture. Those things are absolutely false and untrue. This happened because for decades we have told kids that there is no God, that there are no moral boundaries, that the answer of life and oppression is to lash out. And I want to read a quote from Aleksandr Solzhenitsyn. He was from communist Russia. He lived 1918 to 2008. And I'm going to read a somewhat lengthy but very relevant quote about the Russian Revolution. You may not be aware, but Russia had a very rich Christian heritage. And for many, many decades, communism reigned, and it was the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR. But Solzhenitsyn said this during the bloody years of communism in Russia. He said, over half a century ago, while I was still a child, I recall hearing a number of old people offer the following explanation for the great disasters that had befallen Russia. Men have forgotten God. That's why all this happened. Now let's go on. Aleksandr Solzhenitsyn said, since then I've spent well nigh 50 years working on the history of our revolution. In the process, I've read hundreds of books, collected hundreds of personal testimonies, and have already contributed 8 volumes of my own toward the effort of clearing away the rubble left by the upheaval, says Solzhenitsyn. But if I were asked today to formulate as concisely as possible the main cause of the ruinous revolution that swallowed up more than 60 million of our people, I could not have put it more accurately than to repeat what the older people said as I was a child, quote, men have forgotten God. That's why all this happened. The answer to this in Nashville or any other tragedy, the violence, the murder, look, it is not to create a police state. It is not to take away liberties. It is not to control people. And may God forbid, it is not to suppress the truth of Christianity. The answer to the liberty, the stability, the prosperity that we once enjoyed, how to restore it, look, folks, this worked well for more than 2 centuries in America. We need God. We need every person to know that they are not the product of evolutionary chance. Life is not about relativism and self-indulgence. Life is to acknowledge God. We're accountable to God. There is a moral code written on every heart, and we need to proclaim it, pass it on to children and people of all ages. We need God, and that's when our safety and our peace will be restored. Thank you for listening. Our website, alexmcfarland.com. A lot of content online. You can find us everywhere. But let's stand strong for truth, because the absence of truth is why we're on such dangerous ground at this present moment. What are you doing next summer? Hey, how about this? I want to invite you to join me in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, August 6 through 11, 2023, for the Faith and Family Retreat. It's going to be awesome. We'll talk about foundational things. What does it mean to be a disciple? How can you defend your faith? Family time, concerts, renewal of wedding vows. It's going to be great. Then fun, a trip to Dollywood. Who wouldn't like that? And then faith in action. There'll be a mission outreach, talking to people about Christ. So again, August 6th through 11, 2023, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Go to faithandfamilyretreat.com. I hope to see you there.